Hey world. So we're here for another live aligning teams. Um, Value each individual as a human being, or however I worded it. You know, I do have three co-hosts, and they're going to be joining in 1 second. But I did want to say something first. So a lot of people understand that my son is going through a lot of difficulties right now, and he's going through a really hard time between adjusting, getting settled, feeling safe. I guess a spiritual awakening as well, finding himself. I mean, this kid's he's just brilliant, right? And he's a little miracle. Watching him do his healing journey from his trauma at this young age is magical, but it's also difficult, right? As a parent to sit back and watch, and sometimes it means allowing him to sit in his pain, and it means like it was for me, right? Like just because he's my son doesn't mean that he doesn't have to go through the same healing journey. And it's been very difficult to watch and difficult to sit by and allow him to evolve at his own pace. Um, and what I realized, especially in the last 24 hours, and I've been getting triggered nonstop, is that he doesn't feel safe at school because he doesn't feel valued, heard, and seen. And it's not the school or the people within its fault. They are doing the best they can. They understand the situation. They understand what this poor child has been through, and all of them have been through. The world is beyond complicated right now. The energies that are flying are impacting adults, so imagine how it's impacting children. It's, you know, it's really interesting to watch this child heal. Some days are great, some days are horrible, some days are crying, just like mine were, right? And some days are painful, some days are angry. Um, but it really goes back to being valued, heard, and seen. And that's how we create safety within ourselves is when we start feeling valued, heard, and seen by others, we start feeling valued, heard, and seen by ourselves. And we start appreciating and respecting and honoring ourselves. Um, it's a hard enough journey as an adult. I can't imagine being 9 and going through it because I was already finding ways to numb myself by 9. So what he's doing is beyond a gift, a blessing, and everything else. And I'm proud of him. And sometimes that means I cry with him. Sometimes that means I'm angry with him. Sometimes that means we laugh about nothing. I am beyond blessed that I don't work a regular 9 to 5, 9 to 6, 8 to 6, whatever it is job, right? Because I don't know how I would be able to dedicate the time and energy that my son needs for me to be by his side. It's made many complications in my life today. It's made my life beyond complicated in so many ways. Um, but I wouldn't do it any other way, right? I would never do it any other way. And Julie is here, so I'm going to bring in Julie. Jason is joining, so I'm going to bring in Jason.
Hello.
And then I know Janinne is coming as well in a few minutes. Can you guys hear me? I hear you. Nobody hears me?
I can hear
Bye, Jason.
Nope,
Julie, you don't hear me at all? Really? I just had that beautiful speaking part, and did you hear any of that part, Julie? When you were in the background? Wow. Hmm. Can you hear me now, Julie? No? No? Hello? So this is interesting. Julie, can you hear me now? Jason, can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you without it, yeah. You don't hear...
You can hear me well. I can hear you. I mean, it's just really quiet. I think it's...
So you can hear me, but it's just really quiet.
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's like really, really quiet.
And Julie can't hear us at all.
Oh.
This is look, guys, this is the joy of being live and
Yeah, what the heck?
Is that better, Jason?
It just got kind of
Can you
tinny.
hear me now? How about now? Can you hear me now?
No.
Hello? You can't hear me at
Yeah.
all now?
I can hear you, but it's like really, really quiet. Nothing here. Nothing here.
How about now? Megan, can you hear me now?
I can still. It's a little better.
Megan's in the audience, so can Megan hear both of us? Apparently, I just need to get really close to the laptop. How about now?
I don't know, and my headset isn't working either. So
It's so strange. I don't know what's going on. Say something, Jason. Jason, say
can you
something.
hear me? Testing, testing.
Can you hear me, Megan? This is so entertaining. Megan, can you hear me? Hello.
No, Megan. This is what I get for tracking on my phone.
I know, seriously. I guess, you know. Yes, you're
I'm
kind
like,
of quiet.
I don't feel like going back outside. I'm gonna do it in my home office, and I can just set my phone up.
I mean, I can try to plug in headset and see if that's better. I don't know if that's going to be better, though. I mean, there's no real answer here. Let's see. Bye-bye. There goes.
I'll be right back. I'm gonna grab my wired headset.
You're gonna go grab your microphone. This is highly entertaining. Wait, no, that's not it. How many people does it take to do a live show and everybody get heard? It's so ironic that we're talking about being heard or valued, heard, and seen, or heard, valued, or seen, or it's ironic that that's the topic of today. There is nowhere to plug in headphones, traditional headphones. So maybe that's not an option, I guess. No, wait. Okay, Megan, is this better? Hello? Is there even a microphone on this thing? Megan, is this better? Hello. It is better. Oh, okay. So now I'm back to the old school headphones. Okay. So this is better for some reason. We will figure this out. We'll stop washing a skillet. You're supposed to pay attention. You know, Jason, I had this great beginning statement that I started with, like really heartfelt, and then we run into this. And now I don't hear. Oh, well, you're muted now.
There
How
we
about
go.
now?
I
There
plugged
we
in my
go.
headset. It's not working on here, but all of a sudden you got louder. So we'll just keep it in, I guess. And
I don't know what's going on. I kind of forfeit at this point.
oh, boom! Now it's working. Now I hear you. Okay, boom. Here we go. We will figure it out.
Maybe. I'm not even going back to the Bluetooth. I'm just sticking with the wired one at this point.
Yeah, I'm staying wired. Absolutely.
Yeah, whatever it takes. And Julie will be back, and Janinne will join us in a second too.
Awesome.
I started out with this really heartfelt message because of what my son is going through, and the perspective of being valued, heard, and seen, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And he doesn't feel safe because he doesn't feel heard or seen, right? So obviously, if he's not feeling heard or seen, he's not feeling valued.
Yeah.
And again, the school system does everything that it can, but the school system can only do so much, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's the debate that I'm having with them currently is, how much can they do and how much are they willing to do? Hey, Janinne.
What's up?
Oh, wait, here she goes. Headphones too. Hang on. Oh, no. This might crash it all by the time it's said and done.
Hilarious.
It's unreal. This is just this is somewhat entertaining, actually.
Yeah, go ahead. No,
Go ahead, Jay.
No, I was gonna say, so you were talking about your son and in being seen, felt, and heard.
Yeah, like he's having so many issues in school, and he doesn't feel safe. I mean, today he was catatonic, crying in the car not to go in the building. And again, it was this battle back and forth between me and the administrators because, they have this perspective that he needs to be in the building, and I agree, he does. But I can't force my child who does not feel safe to go in the building, right?
Yeah,
Like it's just, and it broke me. It broke me to where I broke down, right? Over the last 24 hours, I completely had a breakdown. Like I was just bawling my brains out and angry as can be. I mean, I was all over the map these last 24 hours. And, you know, I'm sitting in it with him, right? And I'm helping
yeah,
him through it. And as a parent, the hardest thing for us to do is sit by and watch our kids hurt, right?
God, I
Like
know. Yeah,
nobody wants to watch their kid hurt, right? But I also look at the other side and I see the miracle of a 9-year-old going through this emotional healing, right? And a spiritual awakening and, trying to feel safe and trying to understand himself. And he's so motivated to heal. He just wants to be better. And I keep trying to explain to him it's not about being better, it's just about evolving and growing through it, right? There is no better or worse. It's about growing through it. And, the time I'm beyond fortunate that I don't work a 9 to 5 or 9 to 6 or whatever it is, right? Because I
yeah,
would
yeah,
never have the time to dedicate to this. And I'm dealing with tremendous consequences for giving so much time to my children, but I don't care, right? Like the consequences are whatever they are, and I'll deal with it. It's extremely challenging, and you know, I said it to Stephanie this morning, right? Because we were talking, well, her morning, later in the day for me, and we were talking, and it's like she's been going through some stuff too, right? And um, we're like, we're sitting there, and we're like, these events are so important. Yeah, the food is great, the conversations are great, the venue is great. All these things are great, right? And we put all the details together in a very beautiful way. But at the core of it, it really is about showing
yeah,
humans to value, hear, and see humans, right? And bringing it to that human level. And this is the core purpose of everything we're doing.
yeah,
And, and I'm watching it in my house, right? Like there's no better confirmation that this is the right time to do everything. When you're questioning yourself, when you're doubting yourself, when you're asking yourself, are you doing the right things? What could I do different? If I had this, I'd be a little better. If I had that, I'd be a little better. And I go into that mode, right, of trying to figure out what I'm doing wrong. But the reality is, we're all just on this journey. We all have our moments. And at the core, we're all just trying to figure out our way. And these events I can't emphasize how important they are. I can't emphasize how much it means if you send one person to this event and it doesn't impact anyone else in your organization, that one human being will make such an impact in the organization
yeah.
that it will shift others. Hi, Janinne. I've never heard you so quiet.
I came in halfway, so I was just trying to get the feel for the conversation.
Yeah, no, it is the perfect time in the world, and it's definitely needed in the space now, and it goes beyond the experience and the food, but that all ravels it together to be the ultimate impactful experience.
Yes, we put a very pretty bow on it.
Yeah, the bow is pretty. It's true. I also like the idea of the atomic habits idea, which is you just continually try to improve by percentage points, right? You don't have to
Mhm.
improve by 100 percentage points a day. First of all, it's
Yeah.
not possible, and certainly you couldn't keep that up. Even if you were able to do it one day, you're not going to be doing it 4 days in a row. But if what you can do is improve a couple of percentage points, 1 percentage point a day, at the end of 3 years, you are at a phenomenally amazing new place. So I feel like this kind of retreat kickstarts that, right? So it gives you all of these tools to continue that growth process and to raise yourself up to the next level.
Yes, and now Julie's having mic and camera problems too. So she joined the crowd of everybody who's having mic. Me and Jason have switched. We've switched headphones twice already, and we're
Which
trying
is why
to
you
juggle.
guys keep seeing me fidget with my ears, because this the wired headset does not fit in my ears, so it keeps falling out.
Well, mine doesn't have any guard on it. My 4-year-old decided to bite them off, so it just sits in there. So I've just got to make sure that I'm not as animated as I normally am. But it's true though, right? Like this is a learning opportunity, right? This isn't going to change your life if you don't follow through on it. But this is an opportunity to learn new and different ways to change your life, right? So it's
your life and your corporation and the company's profit level as well.
Yeah, I mean it's proven, right? And I mean, the easiest way for these companies to change their bottom line is to bring their retention through the roof, because it costs up to 75% of an employee's salary to replace them.
If not more.
Right.
If not more.
And that is staggering numbers. Like that is insane costs. And that's not even counting what they fall behind on and integrating them into a new team and trying to get them on the same page as everyone else. I feel like
I was gonna say, because like you still got to replace that person in that experience level. So you can look at the cost of all the time, effort, wages, everything that you have in that person that you lost, but all that experience that matters, because then you got to bring in somebody new and get them up to that point. And like you said, how much time is lost in that process when you could be productive? And if you're operating at full capacity, where you're hearing your employees, you're taking their ideas and helping, like they're playing a role in the organization because you can see their true talents and you're open to that. Your organization, it takes a whole different level, a whole different leap.
And I'm gonna be the rude awakening for some companies too, right? Like if you have people leaving because they're not valued, heard, and seen, and you're spending that 75% to replace, the new people aren't going to stay if it's not aligning with what they were sold on walking in the door, right?
Yeah.
And if they don't feel valued, heard, and seen, you're going to become an option instead of the choice, which means they're going to walk in with a backup plan, right? Because just like employers are probably tired of employees saying, I can do this, this, and this, and not following through. Now that it's a world of options, which we've already discussed many times, right, in many different shows, they're walking in with a backup plan in case it doesn't work, because people are worried about feeding their family. People are worried about now putting gas in the car, right? Like that's almost doubled in 3 weeks, and it's just getting started, right? Like, let's not kid ourselves. I don't care where you are in this country, unless it's California, it's going to be at least $5 a gallon. California might be 10 when it's all said and done, right? So, like, I mean, this is drastic. This is enormous shifts in life right now. And the world is carrying so much weight right now. People need to feel valued, because when they're used to being able to put so much aside to save towards a vacation, so much aside to buy a new car, right? So much aside to even do what they need for their family, right?
Yeah.
But now this is going to gas. Now this is going to food. Because if gas is moving up, I promise you food will even move faster. Because it's got to get to where it's going somehow, right? Like food is, in my spending, food is up at least 30% in the past 4 months. Like, I can tell just by where the money's going to allocated in my food budget.
Wow. Listen, wow. No joke. Everyone's caring about the gas and the food. I want to circle back for a moment, Mike, on the red flags that a company should be noticing if they have a whole bunch of people leaving, right? So it's all fine and good to be like, well, you want to keep your people because it'll be better. Well, that's accurate. But if they are leaving, that's a red flag, and we got to figure out how to switch that. That has got to stop, and you want to keep your best people. The last thing you want to do, okay, everyone agrees sometimes we mishire, right? Sometimes we have someone who really isn't a fit. We do
Yeah.
want to let them go and let them fulfill their potential at somewhere they want to be. But your good people, you don't want them exiting out the door just because there's some kind of miscommunication or that they're not feeling seen, heard, and valued, even though you want to. So one of the beautiful things about this retreat, right, is that we're focused on that. Again, the 1% improvements. Let's make sure your team feels that. And as you said, right, they've got a lot of stuff in their back pocket about what they're worried about. Like, do they have enough money for food, which hopefully, God willing, we don't have to worry about that per se. I don't think we're dealing with anybody who's doing minimum wage, but it's a very, as gas keeps going up and up, like, oh my God, I spent $100 at the tank. Are you kidding me? Like, it's unexpected, and it does hit people's budgets. Absolutely. So that carries over to the companies. Like, people want to stay where they want to be, but they'll jump, right? They have to get the money, but they'll jump not just because of the money, but because they don't like it. They'd stay if the money's a little less and everybody and the team is working together.
Yeah, I mean, I agree fully, right? Like, I agree that somebody will take less money to be happy and feel safe, right? Like, they will stay if they feel heard, valued, and seen, or heard, seen, and valued, seen, heard, and valued, whatever, whichever order it's supposed to be in at this point, which I keep confusing. Um, if they feel that, if they feel valued, they will stay for less money, right? If the conversation in the morning isn't always first thing, why isn't this turned in? And how is your grandmother? What's going on with your kids? You know, how's what's his name in t-ball? How's what's her name in soccer or basketball and or on the tuba or whatever, right? Like, just understanding their lives, because just because they're in that office or on company time, 60% of their awake time, 50 to 70%, right? Depending on who, you know, doesn't mean you own them. Like, you know, and that's a big issue, right? Like, I've had many jobs, and I will call them jobs because none of them were careers, right? And none of them were, you know, what I wanted to be doing or passion driven. Started out for the right reasons, but never worked out that way. It's interesting because when you feel valued, you bring everything you have to the table. You bring it all. You bring your whole self.
Yeah.
So let me ask you.
Oh, go ahead, Jason.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, especially with a shared vision, it's not really just about asking about what's happening at home. I mean, come on, that's just, right? We know, like, everyone's going to be hopefully good at those relationships and really seeing them as people. But also, if they know their place in the organization and their place as part of the mission, that it's a team effort to accomplish the end goal together, right? That also, like, empowers people.
What I was going to say is, look, we know the problem. We talk about understanding the values and seeing our people and all that kind of stuff. What can people expect, or if they attend this retreat, what can they expect to help them shift their focus and shift their experiences that are going to help them go back and empower their people, starting with themselves?
Well, I mean, it's like you always say, right? And I think Julie could chip in here too. I feel like we're not giving her any time because she had to switch to her phone after trials and tribulations, like we all had.
No, we can't mute Julie.
Right.
Hey, y'all, I'm here, of course.
So, to me, right, like, it all starts with us, right? Like this is a selfish journey. This is a journey that we have to look within, put ourselves first, and really start working on ourselves and understanding ourselves at a deeper level. But while doing that, we also see people differently than we did before.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Because the minute we start seeing ourselves, we start seeing our flaws, we start seeing our mistakes, we become accountable, we become responsible for our actions, right? Like, it's just natural that we start becoming more forgiving of others because we see our mistakes and we own it. So then naturally you're going to reflect that to other people, that you are becoming a safer person to be around, because if you're owning your mistakes, then they know they can own theirs with you, right? And it becomes this bond and this trusting bond and all these different things, right? And, you know, they're going to be, when they come to the event, they're going to be able to experience many different ways, many different coaching styles, many different immersive experiential ways to work on themselves, right? Like different types of journaling, different types of looking at things, different types of practices. Like, I mean, look at Kelly, right? She has the 21-day self-love challenge that she has, right? And she's doing a mini workshop on self-love, and she's also doing the self-love with fondue, right? So there's going to be, everything is tied in, right? And there's ways to really pick what fits for you at the moment, because another part of this that I learned is we're not with one coach our whole life. We're not with one guide our whole life. I mean, yeah, don't get me wrong. We build the relationships, but it doesn't mean that that's our mentor, guide, coach, whatever it is for our whole life. And as we reach different levels and we need different things, we put out to the world, universe, whatever you want to call it, vibration, whatever, that now we're ready to look at something else. And that's when someone else comes and presents themselves. So you're going to have the opportunity to see this, lack of other words, smorgasbord, not only of food, but of different types of coaching styles, and which one might resonate with you at the time, right? Jason, you're not going to be facilitating the first event, but you're going to be facilitating the second event, right? So somebody looking for an intuitive sales or intuitive sales coach or intuitive sales guide, or somebody who can guide that organization to being more responsible in their sales practices, right? Because, it's just more than that, right? They would enjoy the second one more than maybe the first one. But it doesn't mean that the first one you don't send to this, or that you don't send somebody else to this that might be catered more towards, that needs self-love, that needs trauma release, right? Because we have Mandy in the EMDR, which is enormous for trauma release. It's worked amazing for me. I'm triggered so much less, but I'm still quite triggered. It's great.
Wait, and then also, could you extend that out to the corporations, in addition to how the individuals are going to be helped? How will their companies be helped?
Ooh, I got this one.
Give it to Julie.
Every time an individual, and I know this for myself, this is humanity, right? Every time a human being goes through something extraordinary, especially personal growth, personal transformation, there's always this what comes next question. And how do I retain this? Even going to work conferences, right? The nuggets that we learn, it has less value if you don't actually figure out a way to implement it. And as an individual, how do I take everything that has just been the most incredible transformational experience of my life? I'm a different being now, right? But now I'm going back home, where the kids need me, where my team needs me, where life continues to life. And if I am not in a place where I feel cared for, supported, and have some of the answers to those questions, I might lose it all and go back to being asleep and to being, part of the problem again, and less the solution. So how is it that we support the beautiful souls coming through these retreats? Well, we have something completely radical, something that is so different, so new, and so necessary, because we provide that solution. And because we're talking about not only helping individuals transform, we are committing to helping their organizations transform. And we have an amazing model that we are creating that is going to create not only the answer to that question, but then we move it into solution, right? We take you from answering that and showing you how it can absolutely be accomplished, so that we move all the way to an epic solution for the entire organization. That's the game changer here.
And it tastes good.
Yes.
It tastes good.
Right, Mike's
Yeah,
talking
food is
about my
always.
piece, exactly. Like I'm in charge of the menu and bringing in the ideas all around the world. Quite honestly, we have Brazilian and right the fun fondue. There's something very, very healing and community building by sharing food together. So the truth be told is, even though I do honestly feel like it's a little part of the bow package, it really is an integral piece of the retreat, is
Yeah.
taking those quote unquote downtimes, those times when we are comfortable and able to start to digest, so to speak, the ideas that we're learning and talk with the other people who are at the retreat during those meals. We're facilitating those meals so more of those discussions can be happening, that we're comfortable and we're learning even during those times, as well as experiencing new ideas, new cultures, and absolutely new flavors that I'm very excited about.
I love that you tied it down into the experiences, and you brought up that like people are going to be coming from all over the country in high positions within organizations, and just being around other people and getting to know their experiences, their ideas. Like whenever I've went to any kind of convention or retreat or been surrounded around people that did things similar but different than me, you get to hear, you get to learn who they are. And then this experience is so much more submersive, where you're diving beyond that surface and you're really learning these people along with learning yourself. And what kind of impact is that experience coming out of that? What kind of bonds do you get out of that? And what kind of influence do you have with other companies across the world as you dive into an experience like this?
Right, exactly. The network piece is a very real piece, right? You're now going to have all of this experience and knowledge that you'll be able to tap into.
Yeah, and again, right, you're also going to have direct contact with other facilitators too, right, that have all these different skill sets that also come from their own healing journeys, right? Like this isn't, this is a group adventure. There is a reason that every facilitator is participating in everything that they're not facilitating. I'm looking forward to being blindfolded in that first meal. Julie is too, right? Like there is a reason that we're excited about this, because it's going to push us. We're going to have to expand our thought process, because when you're sitting in a blindfolded room with 30, let's say, strangers, right, you have to be very careful about how you speak, what you say, how you present yourself, how you come across. You're going to have to speak from your heart in a lot deeper way, right? And it's going to really open that door to see your subconscious and unconscious bias. And remember, we all have them. So you need to understand that it's natural. You're going to have it. You embrace it, and you go deeper to understand it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's how we heal through this. And, one of the things that I definitely realize is going to happen is, if when any executive from any role in the organization shows up, as they're going through each portion of this, I bet you 3 to 5 names from within their organization are going to pop up in their head and be like, wow, they really need this. Wow, this could really help them. Wow, this would really change their life, right? So you're already then shifting your perspective, because you're looking at them at how can you help them, rather than how can I micromanage, control, push bottom line, or any of those other things, right? You're going back to the real beauty of business, which is this unified front of a living, breathing organization to value each individual and trust them to do what they need to do for their job.
And I've got a case study that actually proves how absolutely valuable that approach is, where you don't only send one person through this amazing experience, but then you take it to the team. There is a small business here in Southeast Michigan, and they decided to send almost every single employee through the same transformational training program that I had the great honor and delight to go through. And I, of course, became connected with a lot of them. And so I started watching and experiencing through the stories my friends were sharing about the epic changes that happened within that organization, and how they started to grow and provide even greater value to their clients and move their services into multiple states. And it's been absolutely extraordinary to see the true results when you send not just your leaders, but your rising stars, and even maybe the quiet one who still gets to have that experience, because what happens when they stop being quiet and sharing their wisdom, right? It is absolutely life-changing for an entire organization. And I am beyond excited about what's possible. As you all were talking, I had this image of the first few cohorts that we move through these experiences and these retreats, and somebody like Forbes taking notice, right? And this amazing article that goes viral about the face of transforming corporate America, and that these are the faces of that change, because they
That's
figured
so
it out,
awesome.
right? They figured it out. And the bottom line is responding. Their teams are soaring, and they become the way showers for all the others.
That's awesome.
Yeah, really great. That right, exactly. That case, right, exactly. And that it really changes organizations. And I love that you get to go and follow up and really see, right? Oh my gosh, what really does happen when the entire team aligns and comes together. That I love that story.
Yeah, it's so cool that you've had that experience, and of course you have, because you're the retreat goddess. So you have seen these experiences come to life, and that's your expertise that you bring to this whole entire event, and what sets this event apart, and this the experience apart, away from so many other things that corporations can be doing, like bringing in an in-house trainer and staying inside that bubble versus getting out and going to a phenomenal place that's different, eating foods and experiencing cultures and things that they wouldn't experience in their normal bubble.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And to know even the role I play, but it's not just me, it's all of us in aligning teams. The exquisite role that we play to hold space for others, and what a sacred role that is. And so we who gather together as aligning teams, speaking this out to the universe, we know that we are up to sacred work. We know that this is deeply personal, deeply spiritual, and there is a way that we approach it that is so, so different than a conference or a team meeting, right?
Yeah.
That there is something really exquisite that is going on here. And in order to hold space for that, we have to access deeper levels of ourselves, and to honor that energy that must take place for our attendees to feel safe and to be courageous.
Oh my gosh, I love it. You're like really, my blood flow is pumping. Julie, I could listen to you all day. I love it.
I know. I'm just kind of sitting back and soaking it all in.
Exactly. Be courageous. Are you kidding me? Exquisite? Yes. Sign me up. I want all of that.
It's never these types of events happen, right? And in in different ways, right? And many people from organizations have gone to events that might touch the same topics. Many people from organizations have gone to events that are foodies, that love the food and want to experience things. From what I've seen, there's no event's ever been like this. There is no event that's ever been combined like this. That you'll have the opportunity to actually physically try upwards of 15 different types of coaching, healing, training modalities, right? That you'll be able to try food literally from all over the world, right? And you'll be able to experience stuff that you've never thought that you would experience. And it's in a venue that carries a lot of energy and tradition. It's older than the country. It's you and I promise Janinne can take you on a tour of all the original wood in the building, right? Because you feel it. You just feel it. It's such a special place, right? And I'll never forget, because Janinne was like a kid in a candy shop, like running around like, this is the real wood, this is the original wood, because it's just beautiful. It's so well done though. They brought new into old and intertwined it, and the way that the energy is around it. I mean, and the place is beautiful. They do 360 plus weddings a year. Like, that's a lot of weddings.
Right.
For
It has a
one,
very good vibe. It has a safe vibe. It's got this beautiful nature um, as well as gorgeous rooms. Like, right. So I think in addition to everything else, it's a nice location.
it is, and it's the whole thing as one whole living being event, right? Because it does carry its own energy around the event itself. And it took all the pieces to make it what it is: the food, the venue, the organization from Julie, the logistics, all those pieces, right? And then all the different facilitators, all the different people traveling to come from where they're going to come from to this. You know, there's days I look around and I feel like I'm living in Field of Dreams, right? If you build it, they'll come. But this is something that they have no reason not to, right? This is something that if they walk away with one piece of all the things that they're going to learn or have the opportunity to learn from this event, it will shift them personally and radiate through an organization directly. Because even one of these topics can shift everything around you.
And we make it so easy. Go to aligningsteams.com, read the beautiful invitation and the declaration for yourself, your life, your organization, and click the button. It is that easy.
It is that easy, right? And I love the idea. So I know, Michael, I always like, and Jason too, I always like bringing things back to dollar amounts, because I know not everybody is like that, but I'm like that. So with these positive shifts, like that whole idea of empowering your people and creating a place where there's 300% more innovation because your people are willing to speak up and they're not shut down when they have ideas, like creating that incubator where people really share their ideas. The truth of the matter is all the ideas aren't great, right? And they're not supposed to be, but figuring out how to empower your people to say the not great ideas so that you can also get to the great ideas, right?
Mhm.
So failure is okay as long as you recognize it as a tool, right? It's okay to fail. Don't stop having good ideas just because some don't work out. You got to keep going and create that process that allows those brilliant ideas and the innovation to come through.
That's right. And there are smarter people than me that have actually measured the percent of increase in productivity, the reduction in sick days, the reduction in attrition, right? These are measurable bottom line numbers that prove that what we're up to absolutely hits the bottom line. It makes the investment one of the most exquisite return on investment conversations that you will ever have.
Yeah, I mean, and real quick, and I don't know who I cut off, but I cut off someone. So real quick, right? We're not scared of the number. It's $7,777. You're getting room and board. You're getting these beautiful rooms, all 4 nights. You're getting all the meals included. All 16 meals are included. You have no meal expense. You get to participate in each and every one of these workshops, meals. You get to be a part of experiencing all these different types of coachings and trainings. And the reality is, if let's just say that there's 12 different types, right? Which I know there's more than that because I think I can add up to 15, but I'm not sure. But let's just say that there's 12, right? So if you were to pay $500 per session, that's $6,000 right there. Like, I mean, this is a true experience of an event, right? And we want to be there. We want to experience it with you. We want to help guide through it. We want to hold your hands through it because we've been through it. We've all been through it. We've worked at high level corporate. We've worked at low level corporate. We've worked at all these horrible stories of how bad culture works, right? Like, we can talk about the bad culture, but there's no point. We've all been there. We want to shine a light on how do we shift towards the positive, right? And how the little atomic habits, as Janinne said, right? This incremental growth day over day really makes this unbelievable experience happen, right? And it's beyond exciting to me. I don't know if I'm more excited to facilitate it or more excited just to be there in person, right? I can't figure out which I'm more excited for because this is the type of thing that I would have loved 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. Like, when I was trying to figure out what I was going to do when I first got stranded in Arkansas and I was going through this really dark place, I didn't know where to turn, right? Like, I didn't know. I knew I had to change, but I didn't know how. Now, I'm the kind of stubborn that the universe throws things in my face So I didn't have much of a choice but to know what I needed to do. But, you know, like I had no idea. And this is the opportunity to experience 10 to 12 to 15 different ways and figure out what works for you and then grow and evolve through that. And then I'm telling you, the minute you sit down in these rooms and you're going through it, you're going to think of coworkers or employees that could benefit from these different things. You're going to start looking at them differently. They're going to immediately become humans to you, not numbers, right? And you might look at your best salesperson, which we all know, right? Like there's so many of these toxic salespeople out there. Nothing, no, Jason, not you. But we do understand. I was one at one point, right? I was top at sales, amazing, did amazing numbers, but I was toxic to the whole environment because I thought that I could get away with anything, right? Because my numbers just were big enough to do that. And I lived there for a couple of years, a long time ago, but for a couple of years. I wasn't sober yet. So it was a while ago. I actually had hair at that point. But it was, you know, like really looking at it, like we see these things, but we don't understand how to fix them. So a lot of times we just let them go until they burn out, right? Because eventually the whole company turns on those toxic people. It's only a matter of time. But maybe there's a way to help them, help themselves before that happens, right? And you're going to be able to identify things as we're going through these different things. And you're going to look at them and say, you know what, man, that person really is carrying some pain. How do we help them address some of these things, right? On the 15th of February or March or September, this person has like a horrible week. Why are they going through that? What happened, right? And you're going to start seeing these things naturally that you never thought of before because you weren't able to see it in yourself. And the minute you start seeing it in yourself, you're going to naturally start seeing it in others. And we're giving you the resources, the tools, and also the access to be able to see these different ways of potentially helping you and your team and your company and your organization. Because when you start fixing these things, everyone starts feeling valued. It's contagious. It's the same as the opposite. When you start devaluing someone, everybody, it rolls down the sink drain real fast. So it's just a matter of, you know, which side do you want to be on? Do you want to spend time, you know, 70% of your time hiring new people because you have to keep a revolving door? Or do you want to spend 70% of your time being productive? Where do you want to
proactive, creating, inventing, innovating, as opposed to problem solving, as opposed to playing offense instead of playing defense.
Absolutely.
So I have one. Sorry, go ahead, Jay.
But I was just going to add into outside of that experience, that I think is genius. That outside of you get this experience of this 4 days, you also partnered with Becca from this time series of events, and then that allows people, once they start to really understand their values, they start to understand what it is they're looking for in life. This experience of 4 days, they're then enrolled into a program where they get to go experience 10 different coaches and really understand, you know, is there somebody there that can help me take my life to the next level? You mentioned earlier that we're not going to be with one coach for the rest of our lives. Right. So like, what is important now? Where do I need to take action now? What is the most pressing thing that a coach could help me open up that blockage now? And they get to experience that through 10 different coaches, and maybe they find their person there. And then what's really cool with that, because it's a $650 ticket that you're including into that they get to do through its time, they also get to then pick one coach that they get to do a 1 hour coaching session with. So they can really dive in and be submersive outside. After they go through and do their growth, they can then start taking the steps to go even further forward.
Yeah, and that's her first of many events that she's starting to understand that she's going to be doing. But here's a quick question. I'm curious. There's 4 of us on the screen, right? And we've all been in sales. We've all been in different types of jobs. Have you ever worked for a company that never stopped recruiting? Like literally had training classes every 2 weeks. Because as soon as they were done with that, they knew that the turnover was so high that they literally were training people as soon as the new people hit the floor.
Yeah, I started off doing door-to-door sales. Some people didn't last a day. So yes, there was new people every day. Every day we'd show up and there'd be a new face. Some of them coming from work release, but
Oh my gosh, Jason, that is not an easy job. Well done, you.
No, it was horrible. I had nightmares. I did horrible. I had my truck repossessed. I had eviction notices. It was not good.
I mean, I've had numerous of them, right? Like numerous jobs where they literally never stopped hiring. But you know how much money they would have saved themselves if they would have just valued one set of people? And I don't mean one set, like one type of people, but like one group that they brought in and just said, hey, we're going to value you. Like, I don't want to spend all my time hiring new people and going through and training new people. Like, there was a company that I worked for right after I got out of rehab, right? And it was a large company, and then it was eventually sold, right? And this was in the private education sector, which I don't want to go into the business itself, but they were literally hiring 50 people a week. Every 2 weeks, they did a new training of 50 people. Like, and the retention was so low, and they paid you full money for training, and they paid you full benefits day one that you started training.
Yep.
And they still couldn't keep people there because the culture was so toxic, and it was disgusting. And it was. I mean, I made it a year, but I also became the go-to person to fix other people's lives. Like, I think I sent 9 people to rehab during that year. Like, it was like I just got sober, so they said, hey, you're going to be the go-to for that, right? So that's kind of was my penance, I guess, for the previous 10 years of my life. But
So Mike, right, exactly. So exactly what you're talking about is bringing these type of companies in so we can start aligning what they really want, right? Of course, they really want to keep their people. Like, really, if you asked everybody, hey, do you just want to have your people here for a week? No one's saying yes to that. And clearly, for whatever reason, right, that's why it's a red flag. If you're having issues with retention, it is a red flag that something has to change, right? And that is a huge red flag that you're saying, Mike, right? They for sure should come to aligning teams, right? Whatever their mission statement is, whatever their culture is, no one is saying it's a good idea just to keep people for a week or a day.
Right.
Like the
I mean, there was people that didn't make it to the second day of training. I mean, I even think one time one of the trainers walked out before the second day of training. Like, I mean, you know, but I mean, I've been in those jobs too, where I've had a new boss once a week, right? Like
so Mike, why should they come? Why should they come, Mike?
So that they don't need a new boss every week. They need to learn to retain. They need to understand that they save so much more money on the bottom line by keeping their people and investing into them. Because
it reminds me of this story.
Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead, Jay.
It just reminds me of the story that Simon Sinek tells all the time. You're talking about being in a hotel, and one of them was a really awesome hotel that believed in culture and taking care of their people. And he said that he ran across this employee that was just, getting the suitcases and was like so chipper and like so like engaging and took care of him so well. And Simon was just kind of intrigued and was asking this person questions about, do you love your job? And this person's like, oh my God, I love it here. Like, the bosses, everybody knows my name. People come in and they ask me about what I have going on, or they remember that my mom was sick, and so they ask me what was going on, and they care about me. And so when I come here, I bring my passion, I bring my energy. I love being here. I love representing this company. It means so much to me. He was like, before I came here, I was at another hotel that was across town, and they don't believe in investing their people. They didn't care about me. Nobody knew my name. I felt like I was just another number, and I showed up and I didn't perform at all. He was like, I hated people. I wouldn't talk to people. He was like, I was a horrible representation for that company. Simon's like, same person, 2 different companies, 2 different performances, all because they cared and valued about their employees. Now think about that impact on a greater scale. And if you can start to have that mentality, like that company that has this employee that's dedicated, they bring their top performance because they're so lucky to be a part of this organization and feel so valued and heard across the whole organization. When the CEO of the company can come in and say, how's it going? And greet me by name. How huge is that? It's just those little things that grow so far. but look at that performance. And Simon Sinek is out talking about this company, you know, on a global stage and sharing this story. How incredible is that?
Yep.
Yeah, and that's an awesome story. That's the story in and of itself. It isn't always the person, it's somehow the fit, right? So if you can change the fit, all of a sudden you can have rock stars like as Julia just said. It could send your quiet people, right? There's a reason they're being quiet. Whatever it is, I don't know what it is, but they come and you change the fit, you can then change the results.
Yeah.
I just want to drop the mic again and again and again. Y'all are dropping such nuggets.
It's, you know, and if you're only a numbers person, not that anybody on this thing likes numbers, right? But if you're only a numbers person, if you have a $60,000 employee a year salary, plus minus benefits, whatever it ends up coming out to be, and it's going to cost $45,000 to replace that person, plus time, plus hours, plus training, plus getting them up to speed, plus integrating them to the team, then getting them caught up on the work, then getting them to perform. I mean, at the end of the day, wouldn't you rather just spend 6 to 10 to 15,000 to keep them, make them happy, make them your honor badge of running around screaming how great the company is? Like, these are the things. Like, you save 60% of that money, and you get a performer who now becomes a top performer, who performs at the best of their ability every day, day in and day out, who influences and shifts and inspires the rest of the organization because of their shift. And this is what we're looking to be the catalyst for. This is what we're looking to bring into organizations. This is why sending at least one person from your company here, or up to 25. But this is why sending a person from your company starts the shift.
Okay. Yep. Sorry, Mike, let me jump real quick. Are we going to be done in a couple minutes?
Yes, we're going to be done in a couple minutes because I have to go.
Have last opinions?
I've shared too many already.
Yeah, just sign up. Just sign up. Just
sign
go.
Up.
Go register.
Click the button.
Click the button. Right? We would love to see you guys there. Exactly. And if there's people you know who might not be on this, who might not see this live, please share it with them. We're aligningteams.com. We'd love to see you there.
Yes. And then as soon as you register on there, we will turn around and invoice you and send you the agreement. Find out what food allergies you have, because that is beyond important in everything that we do. We do
Mike
not want to.
Mike is making fun of me.
We don't want to kill anyone.
Priority.
I am totally against killing people. So food allergies are very important, right? So especially because of what we're doing and how we're doing it. It's one of the most important things that we can ask is the food allergies.
We want this to be a life-changing experience, not a life-ending experience.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, right.
Exactly. Especially the blindfolded meal. We need to know if you're allergic to anything for that. Like no joke.
Not even joking. Right,
no joke. If you have a slight allergy, please put that in there too. Whatever it is. As long as it's oxygen's not one of them, because I don't know if we can take that away.
Okay, Julie, you get your last dibs.
Change your life, change your organization, and affect global change. The more that we are in this together, the more that we are changing the entire world. That is what we're up to, and we want you to join us.
Yes. Julie, I'm typing that in. I loved it.
All right. I have another meeting. I'm heading out.
All right. Me too.
Thank you.
All right, everybody.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
I never hit end. I love when I do that.